Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Cynthia Linox Show. I am your host, Cynthia Linox. We are going to continue today with our subject, our theme on sex as self-care. You know, that is an untapped source of energy that we generally ignore simply because of taboo and conditioning, social conditioning, and things of that nature. But we're gonna open up today. We're going to talk about some things because sex is medicine, and we're going to unpack that a little bit so that we can have a better understanding of the importance of sex in our lives. But before I do that, you know, at the end of my show, I always mention that I'm a life coach and that I offer a 30-minute complimentary segment chat so that we can see if you know we're the right match, the right energy, and so forth. And the email on the bottom, info@thecynthialinoxshow.com, is where you would write to me. So I got this letter from this person. Hello, Ireland. It's good to know that you are watching from across the ocean, all the way in Ireland. But when the satisfaction of a life coach is to, we motivate, we hold you accountable, and we set goals, and we support you in moving forward in your life. You know, we don't go back unpacking things that you have been through. That's a psychotherapist. But a life coach, you know, we move forward with you. And the satisfaction that we get is to see you transform, to see you change, and to see your life transform into the version that best fits you, whatever you decide you want to be, whatever goals you want to achieve. That is our satisfaction. Now, when you write to me and all you want to know is, what is my fee? That is, for me in particular, as a coach, that is a flag to me that you are not ready to make an investment in yourself. Because when you're ready to make an investment in yourself, and I know because of personal experience, I have had, I have done a lot of things, seminars, events, coaching, training, and, I invest money in me. Why? For my personal development. So when you write to me and you just want to know what my fee is, that is not how we start a conversation. We'll start a conversation if you have some issues going on and you think that you may need a coach, then we will talk about that. And once we get started, it all depends on the issues that you're going. You know, I'm a transformational life coach. So that has to do with personal development. It doesn't have to do with career or fitness or anything of that nature. It has to do with your personal development, a transformation of your life. Some people are transitioning from, raising kids to become an empty nester, not knowing what to do with their lives. Some people are facing retirement and with no plans, no goals, nothing to look forward to. Some people may be facing a divorce or change in their status and, widow, and they want to move forward with some goals so that they can enjoy a fulfilling life right now. So once we determine what the need is, once we determine what the situation is, and it's not just talking with you, it's really bringing you to a place to discover the things that you need to know because it's already in you. But we have strategies and we have ways and techniques that we use, that we are trained to use to identify those situations. Because in most cases, we see in you what you may not see or recognize in yourself. Most of the time when I talk to people, they don't see things. It's like, it's like a light bulb goes off because I point out things to them that I perceive or things that I'm hearing as we talk and so forth. So once we have that 30-minute of chat, then I will create an actionable plan for you. At that time, I will determine what, whether you may need only 3 sessions with me, or you may need 6 sessions with me. Some people prefer, I want to have you available 24/7. So if I'm going through a moment of anxiety or depression, I can call you. So it all depends on what your needs are. That determines my fee. So it's not something where I can say or will say, this is what it will cost you. It all depends on what you want to accomplish and how soon you want to accomplish it. Now, when we get started, of course, you have to pay up front. And one of the things that's important is that when I give you an actionable plan, is that you do it, because I don't want to waste my time, and you certainly don't want to waste your time. But a life coach, when you hire a life coach, it's it's for yourself. It's an investment in yourself. That's how you need to see it. An investment in yourself. So you're going to get something out of it. And certainly I'm going to be paid for my time, because I'm going to have to research things and come up with plans for you. And each time we meet, you're going to be held accountable for doing the things that I recommend and things of that nature. And of course, there's time on the phone that we spend, or Zoom, whatever is best for you. So again, when you write to me, it's not simply what is your fee. That just doesn't work that way. If you want to schedule a 30-minute meeting, we can do that. And then after that, we determine, you decide if you want to continue, and then I will let you know what I recommend as far as, seems like you may need, 3, 4, 5, 6 sessions, and the more sessions, the less, kind of thing. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you, because that's almost like the first thing everybody asks. What's your fee? If you're concerned about fee, then you're not really ready to invest in yourself. And that's the whole idea. It's an investment in yourself. You have to think of it that way. Are you really serious about moving forward in your life? Are you really serious about your goals? Are you really serious about what you want to achieve? Are you really serious about your desires? Are you really serious about living a fulfilling life now? And once you answer that question, if you determine that you want to move, because I did that. I did that at some point a long time ago, and I continue to do that. I make investments, things that come up, and sometimes I get an invitation, to an event, to a seminar, to a conference, convention, workshop, and it costs money, and I have to pay. But the way I see it, it's an investment in me. And I pay, I belong to different organizations, and I pay fees as well. Now, if I see that it's not working for me, then I cancel my membership. You pay every year, most of these organizations, which are good. But so it's about you. Again, it's about you and what you want to do with your life and so forth. So I just want to share that with you so that you would know, when you write to me and you ask what's your fee, that's not something that I will just answer and say, well, my fee is this, because it simply doesn't work that way, at least with me. It may work that way with other coaches, but that's not really the way we do business. So anyway, you have that to consider. Now, last week we talked about sex, and we talked about the importance of sex in one's life, and how it helps you emotionally, physically, and mentally. And And today I want to talk about sex as medicine. You know, when we talk about sex, sex is not only for pleasure, sex is not only for romance, sex is also medicine. And when you start viewing it from that standpoint, and this is whether you have a partner or whether you go solo, whether you fly solo. Now, when I talk about sex, I'm talking about, you know, if you have a partner, the foundation of that interaction is based first on mutual consent, respect, safety, and some kind of emotional connection. But again, mutual consent, safety, which is important, respect, and some kind of emotional connection. Now, if you are flying solo, then you want to make sure that you get rid of things like guilt and judgment and shame. You want to expel that. You want to get rid of that guilt, judgment, and shame, so that you can get to know your body and reach a place of fulfillment physically when you fly solo. So you must keep that in mind, because there's some people that talk about, you know, flying solo, but then when they're you know, when they think about it, they have a lot of guilt. They have a lot of guilt, judgment, and shame. And that's because of the way sex has been defined to us, the way sex has been taught, the way we have been conditioned and programmed to see sex. And of course, that all started with the patriarchal circle. And it's something that was imposed upon particularly women, because if you notice that women are the one that carry that whole stigma of, you know, if you think about sex, you know, for men it's totally different, but this applies to everyone. When I talk about sex, I'm referring to both male and female. And this is not, you know, the patriarchal circle. The whole intent was to inflict fear and guilt and control, you know, a way to manipulate women. And they associated shame with purity. You know, if you're not pure, then it's something shameful. And they also condition us to think that it's something dirty. Well, you know, if I were to ask you who invented sex, you would have a whole bunch of different ideas. But I can tell you one thing that I know for sure, and that is no one knows. No one knows. You may have assumptions and you may have a belief system, but who created sex? No one knows. That's a fact. That's the reality. Again, I know that some people may have some strong belief system, but the reality is that no one knows. And what we do know is that you and myself, we are a product of sex. We know scientifically that is the way we procreate. That's how you came. You know, your mom and your dad met. They were, you know, into each other. They had passion for each other, lust, whatever, and they came together. They had sex, and you were born. So, besides procreating, we know that sex brings pleasure, and it is also, you know, associated with romance and things of that nature. But when I talk about sex and when I say sex is medicine, start to look at it from a holistic point of view. Sex. Because if you think, my friend, that sex is optional, then you are missing the most powerful ways of maintaining strength, uh, physical strength I'm referring to keep your physical strength, maintaining your strength, staying vibrant and alive. When I say sex is medicine, I shared last week that sex, when you are having sex, it raises your heartbeat. Your heartbeat takes a climb. Your blood begins to flow and the hormones in your body begins to just, situate themselves and so forth. So not only is it bringing you pleasure, but uh it is keeping your system. Again, I shared last week that it is a total reset to your entire system and a rewiring of your mind, your brain. So it's not just for pleasure. Sex is vital for everyone. And that's why we have the ability to, if you don't have a partner, and the reason I say that is because a lot of folks that are watching, maybe, again, not have a partner. And some people, you want to, be some people are in a monogamous relationship or whatever it is. That's not what I'm intended to touch. I'm just saying that if you don't have a partner, that you can go solo. And it's important that you understand that it really is not an option. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not an option, but at the same time, you don't want to have, associated with guilt or judgment, to judge yourself as dirty or shameful. You don't want to associate with any of those type of feeling, emotion, or mindset at all, because it's not. Sex is beautiful. And as we learned last week, as I was talking with someone and I said, sex is not a privilege. Sex is your birthright. It is not a privilege. It's not something that was given to you or granted to you or no. Sex is something that we are all born with. We are all born with that little G spot for the women, and for men, it's an erection and so forth. But no one has to tell you. As a matter of fact, I was talking with someone the other day, and they have a young teenager and so forth, and we're talking about that, and I said, well, have you had a conversation with them? And they said no. They it's just something that they are afraid to address. They are afraid, and for them it's a big thing. And we went through this whole discussion about why. He's like, why are you afraid? Because guess what? That person is going to, well, that person, that their child is going to learn it somewhere, and it's best that they learn it from you, so that they can grow to appreciate your bodies and see it as natural and normal, and make decisions that are safe, that are respectful, and that are aware of your own body. It doesn't matter what age they are, as long as the moment they reach puberty, it is incumbent upon you, the parent, whether it's male or female, to have a discussion with your child. Now, I'm not addressing any standpoint from any kind of belief system. I'm just talking about the biological effects that happens to one's body, one's anatomy, the changes that one go through. It is important that you have a discussion with your child so that they will understand what is happening in their bodies and why is it reacting that way, and why are they feeling that way, and how to channel that kind of emotion and feelings, and what to do with it. You need to have a honest conversation. But if you cannot have that conversation with yourself, if you cannot, if you feel some kind of way, uh, shame, or you blush and you talk about the birds and the bees and all that kind of stuff, don't do that. Don't do that. That's why I say that not everyone has the maturity to listen to this conversation, to listen to this show when I talk about sex. Not everyone has that kind of maturity. That's why I always encourage you to have an open mind. Keep an open mind. Keep an open mind to learn stuff, to learn things so that you can know what's going on. Doesn't mean you have to agree. And if it offends you, then it's simple. If this whole thing offends you, then it's you have a choice. You need to keep scrolling. And that's okay as well. But when I talk about sex as medicine, a lot of people spend a lot of money with anti-aging things and, anti-aging cream, anti-aging, getting on the treadmill and whatever and all that kind of stuff. But I am telling you something. Sex is the best anti-aging solution there is. Once you get an idea, I'm telling you, your bedroom is a sanctuary. Your bedroom is a wellness studio. Once you start seeing it that way, your bedroom or, your house for that matter, once you start seeing it that way, your whole mindset will change about sex. Once you start seeing it as, wait a minute, this is not optional. That's why sometimes, you're home and I don't know, you may be watching a romantic movie or whatever. You may just be having some thoughts and you start reacting in your body. That is normal. Don't kid yourself. That is normal. And don't allow anyone to judge you again, because you know what? This is a private issue. This is a private situation. This is private. No one needs to know what you do. I'm just sharing this with you so that you can take a different mindset, a different stance, position, view as to what sex is. Some people talk about sex is only for married folks. Well, it's easy for me to say that because I'm married. And I can have sex as often as I want. Absolutely. But for the people that are single, so what? Are you implying, or are you thinking that because you are not married, you shouldn't have sex? Or you don't have these desires? Who created those desires? Be honest with yourself. And I'm telling you, the power, sex is power, and the vitality that the strength, it resets your whole system, my friend. It resets your whole system. The pep it puts in your step, the vitality that it brings to you to remind you that you are alive and well. Your bedroom is a wellness studio. Your bedroom is a wellness sanctuary. And you must think of it in those terms. Get it all nice and fixed up. In our main bedroom, we don't have a television. Ever. We have never had a television in our bedroom. And we started out that way. Why? Because for us, and that's just our thing, there's nothing wrong with having a television in your bedroom, but for us, that is our sanctuary. That's the place where we get to express passion, ecstasy, desire, want, need. We get to express that and pay attention to each other. Whatever fantasy we may have, and we get to mingle. This is our place. So we don't have a television for any distraction in our bedroom. We have televisions in all the other bedrooms. Every bedroom we have a television, except for our master, our main bedroom. And that's by choice. You can do whatever you want, whatever works for you. I'm just saying to you that your bedroom is a wellness studio. And once you start seeing it that way, and once you start, do you know that, when you have an orgasm, there's studies that shows that even your joints, it helps your joints. Your bone density. It increases your bone density. The health benefits of sex is out there. And once you understand that, you will start viewing it totally different. You don't need to be any kind of way. You just need to know that it's not an option. Once you become an adult, it is not an option. And again, healthy sex, the fundamental basis of healthy sex is based on mutual consent, respect, safety, and some kind of emotional connection. At least the first three. Mutual consent, that is inescapable. Mutual consent, there's no buts or if about that. Whether you're married or not. Mutual consent, you enter into that relationship enthusiastically. Why? Because it's not optional. Sex is not optional. And if you fly solo, you take care of yourself and make sure that you calibrate your mind, you synchronize your mind so that it harmonizes with your body. Mind and body harmonizing to establish a canvas, a platform, if you will. Mind and body harmonizing so that you are not filled with any kind of guilt or shame or judgment upon yourself. That's no bueno. You don't need to judge yourself for something that is natural, for something that is normal. For something that is natural. For something that you did not create, nor was it granted to you as a privilege. No, it is your birthright. When you talk about sex, we talk about sleep. Did you know that, for those of you that suffer from insomnia, a good orgasm will bring you to that place of sweet rest. When you reach your peak, your orgasmic experience, and all your hormones are just dancing within your system, and your body has just reset itself, and your mind is just you reach to that place, and you will just fall into a deep sleep and sleep well. And sleep well. Talk about vitality. It helps your energy. It keeps you vibrant, motivated, and, encouraged, alive. It sends a message to your brain that you are alive and well. And it provokes you to want to live a fulfilling life. You have to get rid of all the taboos and all the things that's been imposed upon you, which are, they're a fallacy. It's not true. It's all social construct. social construct, religious construct, cultural construct, all conditioning, programming that's been imposed upon us. Got to get rid of that because it's not healthy. It's not healthy for you to feel shame over your own body. You need to become familiar with your body, just like when you go through changes. Uh, both genders, male and female, we both go through changes in life, and you communicate. You communicate to your partner what needs to change, what needs to be altered, what needs to be modified. And for yourself, you start learning about your own body, the changes that you go through. And you need to, stand in the mirror and look at your body and be happy with that. Be happy with your body. Be happy with yourself. Be happy with yourself. Be pleased with yourself. Take delight with yourself. And make it your commitment to take care of yourself. For some reason in my mind, I asked my husband the other day, I said, do you think sex kind of like keeps one healthy? Yeah. And so he said, well, it has us. It has kept us healthy. Well, the point is, I'm telling you, when you have your blood flowing well through your arteries and through your whole system, it's taking oxygen throughout your body. What do you think that do? It helps your immune system. It helps your immune system fight off infection and disease. The other day I went to the 24-hour fitness, and I hadn't been there in a long time. And usually I have like my wipes, my Clorox wipes to wipe the machines down and so forth. And even if I don't have it, they have it over there. Well, I forgot. I forgot to wipe it down. I started out on the treadmill, and then I went on the elliptical, and I forgot to wipe it down. And so when I came home, I got the sniffles. I just started feeling not well. And I don't like to not feel well. And, I said to my husband, this is what happened, so and so, and we took care of it. And I kind of stayed low for a few days and so forth. And, I kicked back up. And then now that I feel well, and, when I think about how I felt a few days ago, I thought, you know what? No, I'd rather stay in the well zone. I'd rather stay in the well zone. And that means, my friend, that means mentally, emotionally, and physically. For those of you that are dealing with stuff, I'm telling you, sex is medicine. Start seeing it as that. Sex is medicine. It helps your immune system. It even helps your joints. Good orgasm can put out your back, any kind of back situation that you have, you can just reset it with a good orgasm. That's powerful. That is powerful. Not only does it gives you pleasure, but it's medicine. And once you start thinking about sex that way, thinking about your body, the beautiful thing about it is that, it is your body. It is your body. And you have to exercise full autonomy over your body. And that means whether you're with a partner or you're flying solo, you exercise full autonomy. That's the one thing that I believe that you should have total control over: your body. And if it's something that brings you pleasure, then if you have to fly solo, And I shared last week, if you have to get a toy, then get a toy. But you can use your imagination. You can use your imagination to self pleasure and bring yourself to climax. And when you're able to do that, my friend, when you are able to do that, just imagine all the different, your mind to be able to think, to fantasize, and then your hormones, your body chemistry, everything that's moving in there. Just imagine the health, wellness being that is happening during that experience. Just imagine, if you have a healthy mind, and I guess I'm talking right now to people that are flying solo. If you have a healthy mind, just imagine the ability to imagine. And that's why, whatever you imagine becomes your reality. The ability to imagine and to, whatever fantasy you have, it's not a bad thing. You keep it in perspective. You're free to do whatever you want to do as long as you don't infringe on the freedom of someone else. And that's why I said your bedroom is a wellness studio. Your bedroom is a wellness sanctuary. Some people like to indulge in a bath. They I know this person, she does this bubble bath with the lavender and the candle and a glass of wine and little background music and so forth. And it's like a spa. See, I do that every now and then, not all the time, but when I do that, it's generally when I, home alone and I just want to indulge myself. Do whatever you need to do. It is not an option because you will be missing out on the most powerful ways of staying youthful, young, and to have the vitality and to know that you are alive and well and have the strength to live, to be, to move, and the energy. My friend, I'm telling you, it's the best anti-aging solution. It's the best anti-aging solution. Whether you believe this or not, that's irrelevant. I'm just telling you, these are facts. And you can check it out scientifically. And you'll find the reality of it. Now, if your perspective is overshadowed by taboo, then that's another issue. I don't deal with taboo because that's not where I am not, I'm not here to fix that. If you need to get rid of that, again, I'm a life coach and we can have a chat so that you can overcome those hindrances in your personal life. I'm talking to people that are open-minded, to people that have the maturity to know and understand this as truth, this as a fact. And if that's you, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Allow yourself to feel the freedom. Allow yourself to enjoy your own self, your own body, whether it's for the partner or you're flying solo. Discover things about yourself, what you like, what you don't like, what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And I was talking with someone the other day, and I said to her, I said, well, I never say no to my husband, and so they said something to the fact, what if you're not in the mood? Well, if I'm not in the mood, then you get in the mood. You don't have to rush into anything. You just take your time, and you allow time for intimacy. You allow time for romance. You allow time to touch and massage and just do the things that you need to do to get you ready, to get you in the mood. Because this is how I think. When I think that healthy sex, again, based on mutual consent, respect, and safety, we are married, so it's kind of different with us. We are free to, because we are in our savage season. So we don't, we allow ourselves to be savage. But when you get to that place where you understand how your body works and what it does for you health-wise, then you will start seeing it totally different. This whole act of sexual experience, you will start looking at it totally different. Not just for pleasure, even though that's, sex is pleasure. Let's just get that out there. But it's more than pleasure. And when I think of it in terms of, wow, this is going to keep me well and healthy, and it's going to keep my husband well and healthy, then I'm telling you, as I said earlier, sex is medicine. And, if you, I don't know that there's something as overdosing on sex, but if that's what it takes, if it's going to keep you well, again, mentally, emotionally, and physically, if it's going to keep you well, as I said earlier, it is the best anti-aging solution. It is the best anti-aging solution. I mean, you can do all the things that you want. You can, you can walk, you can do this, that, the other, whatever. I mean, that's all good. But the thing is to stay flush. And then, your mind, when you pick up the phone the next day and you say, you talk to your partner and, you run a little joke and whatever, all of that is just, it is so healthy. You know what the problem is, or you know what the sad thing is that sex has been hijacked. Sex is normal. Sex is natural, but it's been hijacked from us. That's why I say it's not a privilege. It is a birthright. It's been hijacked. And then we clothe it with all these taboos and, we don't want to talk about it and we don't want to talk to our kids about it. And then they go out and they learn it from other kids and then they get involved in the act and so forth. And then that's why you find sometimes teenage pregnancy. Why? Because they didn't know. They don't know that safety, respect, mutual consent. You've got to talk to your kids. Don't assume that somebody said to something about they instill celibacy in their children. Celibacy or abstinence is what it's called, actually. Abstinence. And that's fine if that works. But unfortunately, the kid turned out pregnant right now. And that's not, this is not, again, it's not, I'm really talking to adults, but what I'm saying is that you need to see it in such a way, so normal, so that not only yourself, you and your spouse, but the way you communicate it to your children so that they can know it's okay to feel the way they're feeling. It's nothing. It's like when a girl or young girl reaches puberty. That's not something that they can help. It just happens. It just comes upon you. And after you reach a certain age, after 50, it just goes, thank goodness. And then you have other issues that you have to deal with. You have to get to know your body. You go through kind of like a Dubai or the Sahara Desert. Not Dubai, but the Sahara Desert, which is what? Like period of dryness and so forth. Then you have to deal with that. But again, keeping a healthy mindset, then you know that it's not here to stay, and you start doing your research to find out what do you need to do to make sure that that is not it's not here to stay, or it's not permanent. And in the meantime, while you go through all that, you whatever you need to use, that KY gel, whatever it is that you need to do your own research. You want, and once you find out what you need to do, you will see that after a while. But again, it starts with your mindset. You've got to have, you have to have this whole canvas clean and pure and holistic, and just clean, to know, to acknowledge, to accept, to realize that you're pure in your thoughts and your emotions. And whatever you choose to do physically, as you're flying solo, whatever you choose to do physically, there's nothing about you that is dirty. There is nothing about you that is shameful. There is nothing about you that needs to take you down the path of guilt. There's nothing about you that's shameful. Nothing. Nothing about you that is shameful. I'm saying learn to recognize your body, learn to enjoy your body, learn to utilize your mind, to use your imagination, and take yourself there to that place where it will bring you to a place of total sexual fulfillment with your partner, or if you're flying solo. Total sexual fulfillment. My friend, sex is medicine. And if you have any kind of ailment at all, again, the thing is to get your hormones working so that it can regenerate the cells, and your blood can keep flowing. It's almost like a, when you are in the middle of sex, it's like a mini aerobics. It's kind of like a mini aerobic, but it's better than being on a treadmill, because your heart rate increases and your blood flows. That's why, sometimes people, they look so flushed. Sex is not optional. And if you think it's optional, then you are missing the most powerful experience to keep your vitality, your strength, and to remind yourself that you are alive and well. That you are alive and well. Approach it with a whole new, different set of lens. A whole new set of lens. You want to stay healthy. mentally, emotionally, and physically. I'm going to leave you with that, my friend, so that you can sup on that. Give yourself permission. You give yourself permission to enjoy life, to be fulfilled. Give yourself permission. You don't need any kind of external validation. You don't need none of that. And when it comes to relationships, allow yourself, allow yourself to, I think I mentioned last week about meetup groups. They have these meetup groups, and they're fascinating. They have different types. Years ago, I used to go to this meetup groups about it was like The Secret, like the law of manifestation and things like that. And this girl, just a random person, she opened her home and people would come, and it's just wonderful because everyone we had the same mindset, and people would talk about their experiences and what they manifested in their lives, and the law of attraction and all that. That's what it was, the law of attraction. And she would share things about The Secret, and it was fascinating because every week someone would come and they would say, well, I was hoping for that. I needed a new car, and I start seeing it in my mind, and I start. It's not, it's how you think. It's not just what you think. It's how you think. How do you feel about what you're thinking? How do you feel about what you're thinking? And that was a fascinating group. I kind of like it. It was like, I don't know, it was kind of far away from my house, but and then after a while, you don't have to keep going. But I think the meetings was it every week or every 2 weeks, something like that. But they have different groups. My point is, you meet people there of both genders, and you can have friendship with different people. If you're someone that's locked in, like, or you don't have a lot of friends and you want to expand your social circle, then there's an app. I think it's called Meetup. 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 MEET and then up. UP. Meetup. There are many groups that you can become part of so that you can have a nice social circle and go out and do things and just have fun. As a matter of fact, I was thinking the other day because I shared last week how I went out by myself to this nice restaurant alone and so forth. And then I I thought the other day, you know what, I need to, and when I went, my husband was at the office. So, if he's home, of course we're going to go together. But sometimes I just kind of want to do something. And instead of calling a friend to go with me, I would just go by myself. And I said, I need to go to some place like the Crescent, or the Waldorf or wherever, an upscale place, like really up there, just to have coffee and a scone, coffee and a croissant or something. Because what happens is that, you keep pushing up your life. You keep pushing it up. And whether I would do it or not, I don't know. But the point is, I encourage you to do it. Go to a fancy place. Go to a really nice, exclusive restaurant, and just take yourself there. Have a cup of coffee or tea, whatever, and a scone, and just sit there and enjoy it and see what that does for you, for your confidence. The thing is, my friend, I become so fascinated when I see people living and really enjoying their lives and really opening up, and because there is just so much sadness around us. And we have a tendency to celebrate sadness. We have a tendency to celebrate suffering. We have a tendency to celebrate pain and suffering and all that. And, somebody, we glorify that. When somebody comes from, a situation of struggle and they overcome, we applaud them big time. But, if someone who is taking care of themselves or whatever, they live a peaceful life and, they have prospered at work and they are able to take themselves on vacation and just live a nice. Nobody, nobody cares about that. As a matter of fact, some people, they kind of get a little, kind of way with you, and if you kind of share with them, they'll say, "Oh, it must be nice," and I'm like, "Yeah, you're right. It is nice." So come into this zone where you don't. Where you're not only looking for the negative and the suffering part of life to celebrate. You're looking for the you're looking for that part of life where there's joy and contentment and happiness, simply because you are alive and well. I cannot stress that enough, because the more you condition your mind to think that way, as you set it to become a mindset, your mind is set on this way of thinking, you'll see the way your life will unfold. I'm going to leave you with that so that you can sup on it. 2 things. Sex is medicine. And sex is the most effective anti-aging solution. And when I say anti-aging, it's not that we want to be young again. No, it gives you clarity of mind, keeps your skin nice and flushed, your mind working, being positive, optimistic, boosts your confidence, you become assertive, and you want to take care of yourself, getting your vitamin D, going out in the sun, calling up a friend and going out to dinner or lunch, whatever. It's anti-aging. And for those of you that talk about you no longer feel that you're seen or heard, that's a fallacy. Unless you're Ray Charles or Stevie Wonder, all you need is you to see yourself. And all you need is for you to hear yourself. You don't need outside validation. Now, if you're living your life through your kids or your grandkids or whatever, you will never see yourself, because, again, you use that as, that is like an excuse. And yeah, you enjoy the grandkids and your kids and so forth, but the whole idea is about you. Are you enjoying yourself? Do you know how to make yourself fulfilled? Do you know how to live? Because remember, you only die once, and you will never know when that happens. But you live every moment, every day, every second, every hour, every minute. You live constantly. In the meantime, my friend, see these icons over here? Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. If you can't meet me every Thursday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time right here, then you can pick up the show on those stream 24/7. If you need to drop me a note, go to info@thecynthialinoxshow.com and you can drop me a note. I repeat, I'm also a life coach, and I offer a 30-minute complimentary chat just to make sure that you are comfortable and we're the right match to walk you through your goals and to hold you accountable and to see it come to pass. In the meantime, amigos, I will see you next, we will, you will see me next Thursday, same time, same place. And have a fantastic weekend, whatever it is that